Michael had always believed that love was a commitment, not just words. For 5 years, he worked in one of the biggest companies in the city. Dedicated, loyal, hardworking. He never came late. He never missed deadlines. He was the kind of employee every company wanted. But one day, everything changed. Michael was called into the CEO's office. The CEO, a powerful, confident woman, sat behind her desk with a strange smile on her face. She looked at him and said calmly, "Michael, sit down." Michael sat down, confused. Then she said something he never expected. "I like you, Michael." He smiled politely, but before he could respond, she continued, "I don't just like your work, I like you as a man." Michael's smile slowly faded. He shifted in his seat. "Ma'am, I'm married." There was silence. He continued respectfully, "I respect you, but I can't be your man. I love my wife." The CEO leaned back on her chair and crossed her arms. Then she said words that made his heart skip. "Then you have to choose." Michael looked confused. "Choose between your wife and your job." The room suddenly felt heavy. 5 years of hard work, bills to pay, responsibilities waiting at home, all placed on one side, and his wife on the other. Michael took a deep breath. With a shaky voice he said, "I choose my wife." The CEO's face turned cold immediately. "Then you are fired. Pack your things and leave my office." Michael walked out of the office in silence. No goodbye party, no thank you for your service, nothing. Just shame, confusion, and fear. He got home earlier than usual. His wife was surprised. "Hey honey, why are you back so early?" Michael avoided her eyes. "I was sacked from the office." She froze. "What happened?" Michael stayed quiet. "I asked you what happened." She shouted. Still silence. Her face slowly changed from concern to anger. "See? I am not ready to suffer with you. If you can't provide for my needs, I cannot stay in this marriage." Michael looked at her in disbelief. "This is not what I signed up for." And just like that, she left. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. No job, no wife, no hope, just loneliness. One afternoon, his phone rang. A known number. "Hello, Michael. This is your CEO." His heart began to race. "I need you to come to my office." When Michael got there, the CEO looked different, calm, serious. Then she said, "I didn't fire you because you rejected me. I was testing you." Michael frowned in confusion. "I wanted to know what kind of man you are. A man who would abandon his wife for money, would also betray this company for money. But you didn't. You chose loyalty over comfort." She slid a document across the table. "I'm promoting you to branch manager." Michael's eyes filled with tears. Months later, Michael's life began to change. The same man who once walked out of the company in shame was now walking into meetings as the new branch manager. Respect returned, confidence returned, and slowly, happiness returned. One evening, Michael was invited to a corporate dinner organized by the company. Successful business partners, investors, and staff were all present. As Michael stepped into the hall in his neat black suit, someone froze at the entrance. It was his wife. She had come as a +1 to a friend, not knowing Michael would be there. Her eyes widened in shock. The same man she left because he couldn't provide was now being welcomed with applause. She watched as people walked up to him, shaking his hands, calling him sir, praising his leadership. Her heart began to sink. Later that day, she walked up to him slowly. "Michael." He turned, surprised. I didn't know you worked here." Michael nodded calmly. She struggled to speak. Tears gathered in her eyes. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have left you when things got hard. You lost your job because you chose me, and I still walked away." Her voice broke. "I thought you would never rise again. I was scared of suffering. I made a mistake." Silence. Michael looked at her for a few seconds. Then he said quietly, "When I lost my job, I didn't just lose my income. I lost my wife too. You didn't believe in me when I had nothing. So don't believe in me now that I have something." Her tears rolled down freely. "I want to come back," she whispered. Michael took a deep breath. "I needed a partner who would stay during the storm, not someone who would only return when the sun starts to shine." Days passed after that encounter, but this time, Michael wasn't the only one trying to move on. His ex-wife struggled to sleep at night. The same house she once proudly left now felt empty. The same life she thought would be better without struggle now felt meaningless. She began to remember everything. How Michael stayed up late at night working, how he sacrificed his comfort to provide for her, how he defended her when his own family complained, and most painfully, how he lost his job because he chose her. One afternoon, she stood in front of his new office building, looking up at the name boldly written at the top, her eyes filled with tears. This man lost everything for me, and I left him when he needed me the most. She finally understood something. It wasn't poverty she was afraid of, it was loyalty she didn't have. Across the glass window upstairs, Michael saw her standing outside. He recognized her immediately. For a moment, old memories came rushing back, the laughter, the love, the promises. But then he remembered the silence. The night she said, "I am not ready to suffer with you." Michael slowly closed the blinds, not out of hate, but because some chapters are never meant to be reopened. 1 year later, Michael's story became an inspiration within the company, from the man who was once fired to the man who now sat at the decision table, respected, admired, trusted. One morning, his secretary walked in. "Sir, there's someone here to see you." Michael nodded. "Let them in." The door opened slowly, and there she was, not in the elegant clothes he once knew her for, but in a simple outfit. Her confidence gone, her pride replaced with humility. She held a small envelope in her hand. With shaky fingers, she placed it on his desk. "What is this?" Michael asked. "My resignation letter," she replied softly. Michael looked confused. "I got a job here 3 months ago as a junior staff. I wanted to start from somewhere, to rebuild my life." Tears filled her eyes. "But every day, walking through these halls, seeing the man I once abandoned being celebrated, it reminds me of what I lost. I don't deserve your love again. I just wanted to say thank you for choosing me, even when it cost you everything." Michael stared at the envelope for a moment, then back at her, and for the first time, he saw not the woman who left him, but the lesson she became. She turned to leave, but before she got to the door, Michael spoke. "I forgive you." She paused, not because forgiveness would bring her back, but because it finally gave them both peace. A few weeks later, Michael was called into the CEO's office again. He walked in confidently this time. No fear, no anxiety, just purpose. The CEO looked at him and smiled. "Michael, do you remember the day you chose your wife over this job?" Michael nodded slowly. "I remember everything." She leaned forward. That day wasn't just a test for promotion. It was a test for leadership. Michael frowned slightly. A man who can stay loyal to one person when he has nothing is the kind of man who will stay loyal to a company when he has power. She stood up and walked towards the window. "When you walked out of this office that day, I knew it would either become bitter or become better." She turned back to him. "And you chose to become better. But here's the final test." Michael's heart skipped. If one day, the same woman who left you comes back, not because she needs you, but because she truly loves you, will you choose forgiveness or revenge? Michael stayed quiet for a moment. Then he said softly, "I already chose forgiveness." The CEO smiled. "Then congratulations. You didn't just pass the test of loyalty. You passed the test of character. Anyone can love you when life is easy, but only a few will stay. When choosing you comes with a cost." Hit the subscribe button if you are inspired by this story.